Very good evening. I welcome all of you on this webinar on a very hot topic on the status of 148 notices after the pronouncement of the Delhi High Court decision. And on this subject, our very learned and our big brother, CA, doctor, advocate, and very well known poet, Dr. Rakesh Gupta ji is with us. I welcome you, sir. I welcome also Sunil Damija ji, Dr. M.K. Bhatt Saab, Mudit ji, Ramdev Kakra ji, and all the attendee on this seminar. As you know, there is no need to introduce our big brother, but it's still my duty to introduce very briefly. He got the merit position in high school and intermediate and got the first rank in the university from St. John College, Agra in 1980. He is a FCA, FCS, AICWA, MBA, LLB, first rank in university, LLM, PhD. He was appointed as a member Income Tax Appellate Tribunal at the age of 37 years, posted at Hyderabad, but resigned later on. He also co-authored so many books with Dr. Rajkumar Agrawal, mainly search and seizure and assessment of such cases, taxation of real estate developers and joint development arrangements. He is now practicing as an advocate and appearing in Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, High Courts and Supreme Court of India. He argued high-profile cases of the country at Tribunal and High Court, drawing wide media coverage. As Dr. Rakesh Gupta ji uh, took very pain to sort out some questions, and these questions are like this. We will try to discuss and find the answer of the following question: that what was the controversy, what is the decision of Delhi High Court, what would be the effect of Delhi High Court decision in the notices which were challenged, what is the effect of Delhi High Court decision on the notices not challenged, what if the High Court decision is challenged in Supreme Court, what if the retrospective amendment is brought to nullify the High Court decision? What can department do in the respect of notices of various years post High Court decisions? And what is the way forward? And we will also welcome all the other queries if there is any after this webinar. With this, I once again welcome our elder brother poet. और मैं रिक्वेस्ट भी करूंगा डॉक्टर साहब से कि बीच में या पहले या बाद में एक दो अपनी कविता जरूर सुनाए सर. With this, sir, over to you.
Thank you, Rajesh ji. Thank you, a very learned gathering of my illustrious professional brothers and sisters. Today's topic now has created a very robust inquisitiveness among us, all of us. And till afternoon, I was not sure as to what would be the salient points or questions which I would take up, but then in the spur of moment, I drafted these questions in order to make today's deliberations somewhat interesting. So friends, as all of us know, that Delhi High Court decisions in which more than 1,300 notices were challenged by various petitions now has come. Other high courts have also come. Allahabad High Court in the case of Ashok Kumar, Rajasthan High Court in the case of BPIP Infra Private Limited. They have also quashed the notices under Section 148. But then we are aware that in Palak Khatuja's case, Honorable Chhattisgarh High Court has dismissed the writ petition challenging the very issuance of notice under Section 148. So, coming to the first question as to what was the controversy involved in all these writ petitions. As all of us know, that the department or the assessing officer for that matter has got power under the law to reopen a concluded assessment subject to certain jurisdictional conditions compliances. So the controversy which was involved in all these writ petitions filed before the Delhi High Court was as to whether the reopening notices issued under section 148 for various assessment years, which were issued on or after 1st April 2021, whether they were for assessment year 2013-14, 2014-15, 15-16, 16-17, and 17-18. Or for that matter, any other year, now could be said to have been issued validly. More so in view of the new regime of reopening brought out by the Finance Act 2021. Those notices under section 148 which were issued on or before 31st day of March 2021, there were no challenges from this perspective, though even in certain cases even those notices have also been challenged, but then those notices challenge is now the subject matter of today's discussion. That today's discussions revolve and would revolve around those notices under section 148 which were issued on or after 1st April 2021 and which were the subject matter of approximately 1,300 odd writ petitions with the Delhi High Court. So the controversy was in the narrow compass whether these notices issued on or after 1st April 2021 now could be held to have been validly issued, more so when they were issued under the old regime, though the new regime has been initiated by the amendments made by Finance Act 2021. So this was the controversy. But then what was the genesis of the controversy? The genesis of the controversy was as a result of extending the time limitation for issuing notices under section 148 even beyond 31st day of March 2021, even in respect of those assessment years where the last date for issuing such notices 31st day of March 2021. As all of us know, that assessment year 2014-15 under the old law, unamended law, could be initiated up to 31st day of March 2021. And that was for the reason that the time limit under section 149 unamended was 6 years from the end of the assessment year. So assessment year 14-15, 6 years, would have lapsed on 31st day of March 2021. Now, in respect of assessment year 2013-14, though the 6 years period has lapsed on 31st day of March 2020, but because of the extension on account of the COVID, now even that time was extended to have expired on 31st day of March 2021. But then, in order to relax the time limitations, the government brought out one act, initially ordinance, later on it was culminated into an act, and that act was called the TOLA, Taxation and Other Laws, Relaxations and Amendment of Provisions Act 2020. Now by TOLA, now the time limitations were extended, and the time limits which were extended by TOLA now became the subject matter or became the genesis of the present controversy. How it has become the genesis of the present controversy, I will come a little later. But then the time limits of 31st March 2021 were extended by 2 notifications till 30th of June 2021. So in respect of assessment year 2013-14 and in respect of assessment year 2014-15, because of the limitations extended by TOLA, the last date by which notices under section 148 could have been issued now became 30th June 2021. The second issue or the second reason for the genesis of this controversy was the amendment, wholesale amendment, schematic amendment brought by the Finance Act 2021 to the entire gamut of the reopening and the reassessment law. And that amendment was brought by Finance Act 2021 with effect from 1st April 2021 by enacting section 147 or substituting the old sections by the new sections 147, by new section 148, by new section 149, by new section 151, and introducing one new section, section 148 capital A. So these were the two trigger point or the genesis now which was culminated into a full-blown controversy. And the magnitude of the controversy can be judged by this fact that in Delhi High Court, by that combined order in Manmohan Kohli's case, about 1,300 odd writ petitions, were disposed of. Several other high courts are seized with this issue. Bombay is hearing, Punjab and Haryana High Court is hearing, Gujarat High Court is also hearing. And that is how I have been told that almost 1.5 lakh notices have been issued by the tax department under section 148 on or after 1st April 2021, and the majority of which now have been taken by the SSEs by way of a challenge before the various high courts. So this was the controversy, and this was the genesis of the controversy. But then what did the High Court say, the Delhi High Court? Honorable Delhi High Court, now after analyzing the entire gamut of law which was conversed before the lordships, now held that the amendment made by the Finance Act 2021 in section 147, 148, 148A, 149 and 151, now that has been made effective from 1st April 2021, and there was no overriding legislation, in the sense that overriding legislation was there in the form of TOLA, but then that overriding was only to the extent of extending the limitation. And therefore the substituted provisions of section 147, 148, etc., now they have to be given effect to in respect of all the notices which are issued on or after 1st April 2021, irrespective of the assessment year for which these notices were issued. And the second thing which the lordships of Honorable Delhi High Court held, that attempt on the part of the government or attempt on the part of the executive, which in effect is the government, to supersede the law made by the parliament, is not permissible in law. Because if you remember that under TOLA, time limit has been extended by way of notifications. In last two notifications, the notifications dated 31st March 2021 and 27th April 2021, by which the time limit was extended first by 30th of April 2021, later by 30th June 2021. One explanation was appended in both the notifications to say, for the removal of doubts, the provisions of section 148, 149 and 151 as they stood as on 31st day of March 2021, meaning thereby that unamended law, old law, that will be applicable in respect of the notices issued on or after 1st April 2021. So their lordships held that a notification issued by the executives or by the CBDT, it cannot overpower the statutory provision. Their lordships held that under TOLA, Taxation and Other Laws, Relaxations and Amendment of Various Provisions, Act 2020, now what was allowed to the government was only the power to extend time limitations through the notification. And therefore, when only the time limit extension power has been given to the board, thereafter board cannot assume any other power. So the board, according to their lordships, could not have dictated by way of the notification issued under TOLA anything except the extension of time limit for issuing of notice. So if the notification now also explained as to which law would apply, the Honorable Court said that which law would apply or which law should apply now cannot be dictated by an executive action by bulldozing and overtaking the supremacy of the parliament. And rather their lordship said that notification to this extent that it is dictating that the old law will apply is probably ultra vires to the TOLA Act itself. So subordinate legislation, or for that matter the executive actions, now the genesis of that executive action is the power given under the main act, and that power was only with reference to the extension of the time limit and nothing more, nothing less. Therefore the executive, or for that matter the board, or for that matter the government, could not have dictated as to which law of section 148, of section 149, of section 151 would apply to these notices. And therefore their lordships found that those notices which were issued on or after 1st April 2021 by following the old law and by not following the substituted law cannot be said to have been issued in accordance with law, and therefore their lordships held the action of the assessing officers issuing notice under section 148 now fell foul, and they were, that is why those actions were reversed or their actions were quashed. Now the next question or the next issue which arises, and that issue was designated as issue number 3 by me, that what is the effect of the Delhi High Court decisions on the notices which were challenged. And obviously the notices which were challenged before the Delhi High Court and which were subject matter of about more than 1300 writ petitions, or for that matter before the Allahabad High Court or before Rajasthan High Court. Now the effect of these decisions on those notices within the jurisdiction of at least these three high courts is that those notices now have been held to be nullity, have been held to have been issued not in accordance with the law, and therefore those notices now are destined to be consigned to the dustbin of history, and no assessment can be made by the assessing officer based upon those notices under section 148. But then associated with this question is the question that so far as the notices which were challenged by way of writ petitions is all right. But then those notices which have not been challenged, now what would be the effect of the Delhi High Court decision on such notices? So we'll have to understand that this relief given by the decision of the court in writ petition is a relief in personam, is not a relief in rem, meaning thereby that those who have chosen to challenge this action before the High Court, their notices now have been held to be nullity, and therefore assessing officers are divested from proceeding, unless of course on further appeal by the revenue, if the Supreme Court stays the operation of these decisions, then probably we'll go back to the original position. But let us assume that since there is nothing as such as of now, therefore in those cases where challenge has not been made by way of writ petitions, though the decision of the Delhi High Court, or for that matter the decision of the Allahabad High Court, or for that matter the decision of the Rajasthan High Court, now will operate, should operate as a binding precedent within the jurisdictions of these three high courts in respect of the notices issued by the assessing officers who are located within the jurisdiction of these three high courts. It should operate as a binding precedent, and therefore if those assessees who have not challenged it by way of writ now choose to follow the normal appellate mechanism, ideally the assessing officers should follow the dictum, the dicta, the mandate, the ordain, or the Delhi High Court's decision. But appellate mechanism is a long drawn process, and one may be compelled to undergo the entire process of appellate mechanism. Now nobody can claim based upon these high courts decision, even if located within the jurisdiction of these high courts, that the moment there is high court decision has come, therefore in his case also the notice should be declared on its own as bad in law. Probably that argument may not be available. That will be decided in all such cases wherever the challenge has not been made by the assessing officer or by the appellate authorities by giving effect to the decisions of these high courts decision. But then that kind of parity cannot be claimed by such kind of assessees who have not challenged it. Now what should in such circumstances one do? We will come to that little later. But as of now, we are analyzing as to what is the effect of the Delhi High Court decision on the notices not challenged. The next question, because today's deliberations has been kept on the insistence of Shri Rajesh Agrawal ji, who said, Rakesh ji, there are lots of questions which are emerging in the minds of we professionals, And therefore, let us have a brief webinar of say an hour, bringing out the answers to those all arousing questions, and if there are other questions emanating from the members or oozing out or coming out from the members also, that also we would like to deal. So the next issue now, which is being deliberated upon as to what would happen if this High Court decision is challenged in Supreme Court. Now, though I am using the expressions if, but then it is almost a certainty that these decisions would invariably be challenged before the Supreme Court. I am not aware so far whether the decision of even the Allahabad High Court, which was first in point of time against the SSC, in favor of the SSC, against the revenue, if at all has been challenged or not. In fact, the time limit for filing, especially petitions with the Supreme Court, is 90 days. And that period of 90 days has not expired when Allahabad High Court pronounced its decision in the case of Ashok Kumar. Rajasthan High Court has come a little later. So I am not aware that whether the revenue has challenged the decision of Allahabad High Court by way of special petitions with the Supreme Court or not. But in all probability, bordering even the certainty, I can say, now all these decisions going against the revenue now are most likely to be challenged before the Supreme Court by way of special petitions. Now, when the revenue or the Union of India or the tax department now would file special petitions with the Supreme Court, their first attempt would be to seek the stay of operations of all these orders. Because if the operations of these orders are not stayed, then the notices now cannot be taken forward any further by the tax department. So their first attempt will be to, that is why I am advising my clients, or if not all, some clients who can afford, to file caveat before the caveat in the Supreme Court, so that any attempt on the part of the government to press for a stay in an ex parte manner, I mean, may not be effectuated. Thereafter, since a very important question of law is involved, therefore I have got every reason to believe that the leave would also be granted in all such cases. And then the matter, I mean, would finally be heard by Supreme Court, this way or that way. So now, since the question was that what if this High Court decision, or for that matter the other High Court's decision, which have gone against the revenue, is challenged with the Supreme Court. So these will be the methodology of the challenge. These would be the relief now which are most likely to be sought by the government. Now some questions are being raised in some quarters, and I tell you, those questions which are being raised are not unfounded. And as I said a little while ago, that more than 1,33,000 notices have been issued under Section 148. And if majority of such notices are struck down because of the lapse committed by the executives or the legislature in not enacting the law properly, or for that matter not effectuating the intention, or not giving effect to the intention of law by using the appropriate expressions of the statute, then the government may even think of bringing a retrospective amendment, even that cannot be ruled out. Because the government at some stage may decide that instead of contesting each and every case by way of specially petition, and this seems to be a case of faulty drafting of legislation, and therefore such a large number of cases, I mean, should not go unattended, in the sense should not go unassessed. And more particularly when in all these cases the department has got some information in its possession based upon which the belief must have been formed as to the escapement of income. So there is a stark and strong possibility of any amendment which can also be brought in order to nullify, bulldoze all these decisions. So what would happen? Obviously, the power of the sovereign to bring the law or to enact the law, and that too with a retrospective effect, may be in order to nullify certain judicial decisions. Now is there. Though we may discuss as to whether it should be done or not, whether the government in the past has said more than once that will not bring retrospective amendments, but the power of the sovereign to make amendments, that too with retrospective effect, is there. So it cannot be ruled out that such kind of an amendment is brought, the effect of which may be to the extent of nullifying the impact and import of all these decisions. Now that is a different matter, that if that kind of an attempt is made by the legislature, even that attempt may also be called in question by way of writ petitions before various high courts as to whether in such circumstances to exercise this kind of power to make retrospective amendment, now whether can be said to be meeting the constitutional parameters or not. Now that itself, I mean, that itself can be called in question. Now what would happen in that situation, since everything now is in the womb of speculation, therefore we cannot take our discussion beyond a particular point. Therefore, as of now, we can say that there may be the possibility of even bringing the retrospective amendment, or for that matter, the validation act, to validate some acts which may have been found invalid by the court. Today I was discussing with one very senior officer of the department, and of course he is retired now. I asked the question as to what has been the practice in the department when some retrospective amendment is brought with a view to nullify the impact of a particular decision. Now whether that nullification is done even of that very decision which has compelled the government to bring retrospective amendment. So he told that as a measure of respect to the decisions given by the court, even if some retrospective amendment is brought, it does not, or it is not triggered to nullify the impact of that decision, of that amendment on that decision. But as all of us know that in Vodafone, I mean, despite the Supreme Court's decisions coming in favor of Vodafone, when the retrospective amendment was made, the tax demands were revived. So that kind of nicety, which at one point of time I was told that is observed in the tax department or on the part of the government, that any retrospective amendment should not impact that very decision which has impelled or compelled the government to bring that kind of an amendment, probably that nicety has been lost. And but then if there is a retrospective amendment is brought by the legislature in order to set at naught all these decisions, then there is a strong possibility that there will be spurt of another round of litigations against the very constitutionality of that kind of an amendment, which can be made or which may be made. The next issue, which now is the nagging in the minds of we professionals, is as to what can department do in respect of notices of various years post High Court's decision. Obviously, I mean, those notices which were challenged, where a specific order has come from the High Court, the department accept challenging it before the Supreme Court, or for that matter, that possibility of bringing a retrospective amendment, now cannot do anything. But where the challenge has not been made, the department would tend to proceed with the assessment for such notices which have gone unchallenged, on the ground and on the pretext that there is no relief given in respect of these notices from the High Court. And since the decisions of the High Courts are being challenged by them before the Supreme Court, therefore, in order to keep these proceedings alive, the department may continue to pursue its assessment option. But then the last question now, which is often being asked by my chartered accountants friends, are now what is the way forward? And particularly when this question is asked, what is the way forward? That question is asked in respect of those notices which have not been challenged. Now we can divide this question in 2 or 3 parts. The first part I would deal with assessment year 2013-14 and 2014-15. Now, insofar as assessment year 2013-14 and 2014-15 is concerned, where the notices under section 148 have been issued on or after 1st April 2021, the challenge should be made invariably without losing any further time by filing writ petitions with the High Court. Because in the matter of filing writs, one thing which is always borne in mind by the courts is that since this is an extraordinary remedy given by the extraordinary power, therefore any delay on the part of the taxpayer now is bound to be seen with a pinch of salt by the courts. Therefore, for these 2 assessment years, without losing time, this is my humble personal opinion, that SSEs should file writ petitions within the jurisdiction of these 3 high courts, or for that matter, in the jurisdiction of any other high court, as expeditiously as possible. Assessment year 15-16, 16-17, and kindly mind it, assessment year 13-14 and 14-15, since these assessment years have become barred, therefore, even under the new law or under the old law, the legislature or the assessing officer, for that matter, the revenue, cannot reopen the assessment of these 2 years under the new law. even if they want to follow the newly prescribed process of section 148A, or for that matter, new process of obtaining sanctions. But assessment year 15, 16, 16, 17 and 17, 18. Now, if writ petitions are filed and these notices are quashed by the High Court, and under the new law, under the amended law, since fresh proceedings can be taken up in respect of these years, because the time limit has been extended from 3 to 10 years under the new law. Therefore, the revenue may attempt to reopen the assessment of these years once again under the amended law by following the process and procedures as prescribed under section 148A, read with section 151. Therefore, the question arises as to whether any SSE in whose case these years are involved, 15, 16, 16, 17 or 17, 18, should at all go in for quashing of these notices or not. Because a very genuine question can come in the minds of my friends, that whether any advantage in real sense would accrue even if these notices are quashed by the High Court, if the department reinitiates the action under the amended law. The thing which has been taught to me as a student of law is that one should try to get an action reversed, because so long as that action is there, the damage is inevitable. Now, whether the fear of further damage in case it is quashed, the department reinitiate action would happen or not, that is in the womb of time. And particularly in the matter of reopening, it depends upon several factors. Like beyond 3 years, under the amended law, a case can be opened. A case can be opened subject to the fulfillment of certain additional conditions. And those additional conditions are quite onerous, if not impossible. That escaped income should be more than rupees 50 lakhs. Then that escaped income should be represented by asset. Now, this quantum, and it should be represented by asset. Now, these two conditions are really onerous conditions. Whether they would be there in a given case or not is essentially something which is based on facts. Therefore, one may take a conscious call as to whether these two conditions would be or would not be fulfilled in his case. If he is convinced based upon the material in his possession that these conditions would not be cumulatively fulfilled, then why not to challenge these 15, 16, 16, 17, 17, 18 notices on this very ground before the High Court? And when the department would reinitiate action, and you remember, under the amended law, initiation of an action under section 148 now is clothed with several restrictions. Apart from these two restrictions, then assessing officer will have to obtain approval from the competent authorities time and again, will have to give you the opportunity of hearing, eliciting your response, passing an order, and that order has to go along with the notice under section 148, and all these successive actions have to be approved by the competent authority. Therefore, re-initiation of action for these 3 years, 15, 16, 16, 17, 17, 18, is not that child's play, is not that cakewalk. And more particularly, when at least I have been taught that whatever action is staring at your face as of now, then you must exhaust the legal remedy available with you at this stage. Now, what would happen in future is in the womb of time. Now, you cannot predict. You, on the basis of mere speculations that it can be initiated, if you choose not to challenge even this illegal actions which are staring at your face as of now, then so the way forward for 13, 14, 14, 15, immediately one should file it. 15, 16, 16, 17, 17, 18. Also, in my view, the challenge should be made by way of writ. And then who knows whether the department would be able to comply with chain of onerous conditions in respect of these 3 years once, I mean, the notices are quashed under section 148. So this is all I just wanted to share. And if there are questions from our friends, then I would be pleased to answer. देखिए, क्वेश्चन आंसर्स में भी 5 हैं,
हाँ 5 क्वेश्चन
चैट में 12 हैं. अब क्वेश्चंस चैट में है नहीं है, देख लो आप.
सर पहले यही वाले ले लो, मैं सब मेंबर से रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि वो अपने क्वेश्चन आंसर वाले सर.
अच्छा चलिए सर. अमित गुप्ता जी, कैन एसएससी स्टिल चैलेंज फॉर 14? यस, व्हाई नॉट? अमित जी, this is the high time when you should challenge the notice for assessment in 14, 15. You can challenge, don't worry. RN Des sir,
दास साहब को मैंने रिक्वेस्ट भी किया बार बार पैनलिस्ट में लाने के लिए.
सर Des sir क्या कह रहे हैं? Section 153 subsection 6 is likely to be invoked in suitable matters by the income tax department where the notices under section 140 have been quashed by Honorable Delhi High Court. What is your view on this? Sir, I'll revert you after reading 153 subsection 6 because I have not applied my mind very frankly, and that is where I find that that the experience now has always got the upper hand. So 153 subsection 6. Let me read it, and then it says nothing contained in subsection 1 and 2 shall apply to the following classes of assessment: reassessments and recomputations which may, subject to the provisions of section 3 and 5, be completed where the assessment, reassessment or recomputation is made on SSE or any person consequence of it to give effect to any finding or direction contained in an order under section 250, section 254, section 260, 262, 263 or 264, or in an order of any court in a proceeding otherwise than by way of appeal or reference under this act, on or before the expiry of 12 months from the end of the month in which such order is received or passed by the principal commissioner or commissioner as the case may be. B, where in the case of a firm an assessment is made on a part. So sir, in my respectful submission, yes sir, now 153 subsection 6 is not meant for such kind of a situation, more so when there is no direction or finding given by the High Court in its order. Because if you read the last para number 105 of this decision running into 106 pages, then there is no finding or direction. Now what their lordships have said as a parting comment, that the department may take any action in accordance with law. Now even if they had not mentioned it, I mean, that kind of a prerogative to take action in accordance with law is always there. So in my respectful submission, subsection 6 of 153 now is not meant for such kind of situations which we are grappling with. SLG, SL Gupta sir, whether repayment of existing loans will be covered as assets. No, repayment of existing loans will not be covered as an asset because asset has been defined under section 149 explanation. And very curiously, though it has been defined in an inclusive manner, it says assets shall include immovable property, being land or building or both, shares and securities, loans and advances, deposits in bank account. Repayment of loans and advance now is not or cannot be said to be covered under the definition of asset. Antima Ravi Goyal, please inform once again what will be the status of notices who have not filed writs. Antima ji, writs file करिएगा जल्दी से जल्दी बिना कोई समय गंवाए हुए. For assessment year 15-16, if possibility of income escaping is more than 50 lakhs, then till which date notice under section 148 can be issued? 2026, March 2026 is the last date. Amit Gupta ji, how much is Amit Gupta ji, how much is approximate cost of filing petition in High Court? Probably, we can skip this question. रविंदर बजाज कह रहे हैं नोटिस अंडर सेक्शन 148 फॉर असेसमेंट 1314 issued on 31/3/2021 whether we should challenge it as it is before 31/3/2021. No, it cannot be challenged on this ground which we have discussed, but it can be challenged on any other ground if there was no material or material was not having live nexus with the belief of escapement of income, or if there is any other violation of the statutory safeguards prescribed under these sections, then definitely you can do. But then, like in some cases, even though ostensibly the notices have been issued on 31st day of March 2021, but in fact they have been issued after 31st March 2021. So in that situation, since the notice has not been issued, so there may be, if that is the factual matrix, then of course even that can be challenged. Anonymous attendee, sir, I have forgot to file form number 10 IC for one of my. This is not in relation to the topic of today's discussion, so we can skip it. Jitendra Jindal, whether SSC in jurisdiction of Delhi, Rajasthan, and Allahabad High Court is still required to file writ to respective High Court because all the High Court order is public in rem. We cannot say this High Court order is public in rem. Relief by way of writ is a relief in personam. Pawan Kumar ji, what I understand from your deliberation that Delhi High Court decision is binding on the department on the cases not covered by writ. No, probably, I cannot say that you are absolutely wrong, but then I can say, yes, you are partially right. Delhi High Court's decision, though is binding on all the authorities within the jurisdiction of the Delhi High Court and in respect of the notices issued by the assessing officers within the jurisdiction of Delhi High Court. But then if you want that the effect of your notice goes at once, then you must go in for writ. Otherwise, then you will have to undergo the long drawn process of appellate mechanism. So these questions are over, Rajesh ji.
Yes, sir.
There are questions in chat. Yes, there are questions in chat. So मैं नीचे से लूंगा Dr. MK. In para 104 of the order in case of Manmohan Kohli, Honorable High Court has declared explanations to the notice ultra virus and why. Then will it not affect all the notices issued under section 148? As in para 105, the notices have been quashed as a consequence. Yes, I also said that explanation in fact seeks to cover only those notices which were issued on or after 1st April 2021. So irrespective of any assessment year involved, all notices issued under section 148 on or after 1st April 2021 without following the new law now will have to be declared as a nullity. Amit, what would be the effect of Delhi High Court decision notices signed on 31/3/2021 but issued on? So the requirement of section 149 is the issuance. So if the notice has been issued on 2nd April 2021, in SSC's e-proceeding box appeared on 2nd April and not on, so in that case, yes, you can very well challenge it. विनोद जी क्या कह रहे हैं? Notices for 13, 14, 40 issued on 31/3, but received on, receiving is not. Issuance should be after 31st March, then you can challenge it. Please put your question only for SS Antima. If possibility of income escape, ये तो हो गया, आपने वहां पूछ लिया अंतिमा जी. जोगिंदर जी क्या कह रहे हैं? Mr. Gupta, when the explanation to two notifications have been held to be ultra vires the law, how can the department proceed with assessment proceedings even in cases where the notices were not challenged before the High Court? No, I have, department would proceed, but then somebody will declare it as bad. Now you cannot assume on your own on the basis of this decision that this is bad. So who will hold it bad? Either the assessing officer will declare it bad, he will not. First appellate authority, I mean, can declare it is bad. So you will have to seek a declaration from a court, whether that court is High Court, Court of Writ, or the appellate court. You will have to seek a declaration from the appellate court. Again, inform what is status of the notices who have not filed it. से हो गया मैंने, please. SL Gupta साहब, good evening. तो ये questions हो गए सर.
एक सर क्वेश्चन आया है, एक क्वेश्चन आया है क्वेश्चन आंसर बॉक्स में.
अच्छा, क्या है सर? जगदीश अजमानी सर, good evening sir. In my case, company A has been merged with B. Assessment 143.3 of B has been made for assessment 15, 16 and 16, 17. We have received a notice under section 148. Reasons for opening given. There are certain transactions against A, and since A has not filed return and no assessment has been completed under section 143.3, thereof extended period up to 6 years is available, and hence case is opened. Furthermore, notice has been issued at 1 AM on 1/4/2021. So taking your second question first, the notice issued on 1 AM now cannot be said to be in accordance with law, and therefore, I mean, you can challenge it. Now, so far as the first limb of your question is, since company A has been merged with B, therefore, for all purposes, B is the SSE, and the notices will have to be issued to B on whatever legally tenable grounds. That much I can say. Jagdish Badlani sir, assessment completed 143/16/17. Now notice under section 148 issued on 1/4/2021. Yes, of course, it can be challenged because notice which has been issued on 1/4/2021 must not have been issued after complying with the amended law, and therefore this notice is bad, and therefore you can. क्या लिखा है? Why notice for 14 can be issued? Because 10 years time. देखिए, first of all, you are attending as anonymous. That's not fair. And then, anyway, it cannot. Kindly read first proviso to section 149. That much I can say. जगदीश अजमानी जी कह रहे हैं मुझे अनम्यूट करें, तो राजेश जी उनको अनम्यूट करो. जगदीश अजमानी जी
कर रहा हूं सर, कर रहा हूं बिल्कुल.
मोहित गुप्ता जी क्या कह रहे हैं? आफ्टर डिस्पोजल ऑफ ऑब्जेक्शन बाय AO, कैन वी टेक AO फॉर कंटेम्प्ट टू दिल्ली हाई कोर्ट इन रिट? Yes, you can take to the, if an assessing officer does not follow the decision of the High Court, then of course you can file it. But then who will bail the cat is always a question. Yes.
अजमानी साहब बात कीजिए आप.
हाँ, गुड इवनिंग सर.
हाँ, गुड इवनिंग सर अजमानी साहब.
सर, मेरा गुजारिश है सर, जो अभी जो नोटिस मिला है वो बी को ही मिला, मतलब जो असेस्ड हो चुका है, लेकिन उनको लिख रहे हैं कि बी ने फाइल रिटर्न नहीं किया.
हाँ, देखिए,
मतलब
अब आप
उनको ये है कि 26 ईयर्स में कोई ट्रांजैक्शन मिली है, जैसे कि रेमिटेंस हुआ है, TDS कटा है, एंड दे आर सेइंग क्योंकि ये उन्होंने देखा नहीं रिकॉर्ड की ऑलरेडी जब बी की असेसमेंट हुई है तो ए के वो सारी ट्रांजैक्शन मर्ज होके हुआ है, बट उन्होंने बोल दिया कि नॉन फाइलिंग देखते हुए सिंस ए का ए मर्ज हो गया, ऑर्डर रीजन में भी लिखना है कि सिंस ए हैज बीन मर्ज विद बी और ए का तो ऑब्वियसली A has not filed return and no assessment had been made under 143.3. Therefore, for 15, 16 एंड सेकंड नोटिस फॉर 16 17 ओपन कर दिया।
नहीं, लेकिन जब ए मर्ज हुई थी, ए 15-16 से पहले मर्ज हो गई थी।
हाँ जी, ये उसी में ऑर्डर में भी लिखा हुआ है सर।
तो
जो
जब मर्ज हो गई,
ऑर्डर है उसमें मेंशन भी है कि मर्ज हो चुका है।
ठीक है, तो मर्ज होने के बाद तो फिर बी ही एक एसएससी है, एक एंटिटी है, उसको ही नोटिस इश्यू हो सकता है। अब वो नोटिस कानून के तहत है या नहीं, ये देखना पड़ेगा कि जो उन्होंने रीजन दिए हैं, whether that reason is legally tenable or not, वो देखने वाली बात है।
सर माय पॉइंट इज, यदि बी को इशू होगा तो बी में जब 143(3) की असेसमेंट हो चुकी है तो इन दैट केस तो 4 इयर्स की क्लास होगी, नॉट 6 इयर्स।
जी हाँ, वो होगी। यस यस।
तो इन दैट केस तो मैंने ऑब्जेक्शन फाइल किया है कि ये हाई नोटिस बार्ड बाय लिमिटेशन इनवैलिड है।
यस, वो
तो
एक्चुअली क्या है, 4 साल के बाद भी 6 साल तक तो नोटिस पुराने लॉ फर्स्ट प्रोवाइजो में खोला ही जा सकता था, इफ असेसिंग ऑफिसर प्रूव्स दैट दिस इज एज ए रीओपनिंग इज एज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ द फेलियर ऑफ द एसएससी।
सर उन्होंने जो ऐसा कुछ नहीं लिखा, उसने बोला है इंफॉर्मेशन जैसे कि 126 से यही हैज नॉट पॉइंटेड आउट कि दिस इनकम हैज नॉट बीन अकाउंटेड फॉर, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं।
ठीक है, तो वो पॉइंट आउट
इंफॉर्मेशन आई है, नॉट फॉर इन्वेस्टिगेशन, जस्ट एक इंफॉर्मेशन आती है कि ये टीडीएस का
वो आप चैलेंज करिएगा कि फर्स्ट प्रोवाइजो की बिना मैंडेटरी कंडीशंस फुलफिल किए हुए ये केस उन्होंने खोला है। हरियाणा एक्रेलिक और वो जितने भी डिसीजंस हैं वो सारे, उन सबका सहारा लेंगे आप, ठीक है ना।
तो लेकिन आप रिट में तो नहीं जाए ना, अभी तो ऑब्जेक्शन पे जाए।
हाँ, आप इसमें 31 मार्च को ही इशू हुआ है ना आपका,
31 मार्च को इशू हुआ है और हमें मिला फर्स्ट को, जो वहां से जो मतलब
आप इसको रिट में ना जाएं और इसको आप ऑब्जेक्शन फाइल करके एपेलेट तरीके से जाएं तो आपको रिलीफ मिल जाएगा।
ठीक
है सर,
थैंक यू सर।
अच्छा, और क्वेश्चंस आ गए हैं सर?
हाँ, उनको ले लो सर आप।
मोहम्मद शुजातुल्लाह सर कह रहे हैं, इन सर्च केसेस व्हाट वुड बी द पोजीशन ऑफ नोटिसेस अंडर सेक्शन 140? भाई सर्च यदि 1 अप्रैल 2021 के बाद है तो नया वाला लॉ लगेगा। यदि 1 अप्रैल से पहले यानी 31 मार्च से पहले की सर्च है तो जो पुराना लॉ है 153A वाला वो लगेगा। संजीव जैन, 1450 notice cannot be issued because of old act. 10-year limit is in act. Am I correct? Sanjeev Jain ji, if you remember, there is a first proviso to section 149 subsection 1 जो ये कहता है कि जो असेसमेंट ईयर पुराने लॉ में बार्ड हो गया, चाहे नए लॉ में बार्ड नहीं है तो लेकिन वो बार्ड माना जाएगा। अब 14-15 का जो केस है वो 30/6/2021 को बार्ड हो गया, तो चाहे 14-15 के लिए नए लॉ में 25 तक खुल सकता था, लेकिन 149 सबसेक्शन 1 का पहला प्रोवाइजो ये कहता है कि 14-15 अब नहीं खुल सकता है, चाहे प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया कुछ कर ले। ठीक है। एसएम हीरे मत सर कह रहे हैं, रिस्पांस गिवन बाय फाइलिंग ऑफ रिटर्न टू द नोटिस 148 इशूड आउट ऑफ 1 April 2021 and called for reason. Response was also given by raising the objection whether it can be filed. Yes, it can be filed. Yes, it can be filed. But it should be filed as early as possible. Ketan Vora sir, please guide me before whom we should file objection against reason for reopening. अरे किसके सामने? असेसिंग ऑफिसर के सामने फाइल करिएगा जिसने आपको नोटिस दिया है 148 का, और वरना आप अपलोड करिएगा उस पे जो भी आपका पोर्टल है। यस, तो अब कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं है राजेश जी?
सर एक क्वेश्चन है सर, आपकी कविता रह गई सर।
सर वो किसी और सुनाऊंगा, मेरा बेटा आया हुआ अमेरिका से, उसके साथ जरा जाना है मैंने।
अच्छा सर, thank you very much, and without taking too much time I request our Rajiv Kohli ji for formal vote of thanks. Over to Rajiv Kohli ji.
Sir, thank you Rakesh ji for such a beautiful, lovely, lucid and deliberate discussion, taking all the views in a very crystal clear manner. Logically you have said that this 148, the marcha which has been imposed on us is not correct, and we have to file repeat primarily to save our safeguards. And sir, you are in a hurry, your son is there, so you have to spend quality time with. Thank you very much from core of our heart for taking time and educating us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.